it's Rhea. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you are enjoying yourself. And no, we are not playing Who's That Pokemon. If you've seen the title of this video, you probably know what I will be doing, or you can probably guess. This week's video, I will be drawing my OCs in my clothes. And don't run away just yet because I'm showing a time lapse, okay? I do have some camera-based footage of me doing like another illustration, and I busted my back for that, but we will get onto that later. So this current time lapse is of the full body drawings of all of my OCs that I will be drawing in my clothes. There is 4 of them, and I basically split this prompt into 2 drawings. And as I said, the first drawing right now is of the full body, and then the second one will be like a cute little illustration with all of them together. And the reason why I split them is because I felt that it would be kind of fun to do like, well, obviously I have to show the full body, or I feel like it makes the most sense to do a full body drawing of my OCs since this is about clothes. I think it's cool to like show their entire outfits. Not that I do an amazing job on that, but I do feel like that's very essential for a prompt like this. And the other one, I felt like it'd be fun because, I don't know, honestly, I just feel like drawing a like illustration of my OCs together, like interacting, despite them being maybe even in different worlds or things like that. It's always a fun time. It also has something to do with future prompts that I want to do, like based around fashion and stuff like that, but I will expand on that later. As for the outfits and how you know that they're my outfits, now as much as I love to flaunt pictures of my original fire AF fits, aside from being a shy little lamb, I simply just don't take photos of myself anymore. I mentioned this in another video, but it's like the amount of photos that I take of myself now compared to whenever I was like a teen is like substantially different. But even during like the magical biannual event that I get all dressed up and go outside, I often forget to take photos of the outfits that I like, and especially before I leave, because after that is a different story. Like whenever I'm coming in, my makeup's probably half off, I'm dead inside. So yeah, most of the photos that I do manage to take of my outfits aren't really that good. But that said, I shall present one photo, and it'll be right here, and it represents the outfit that Prism is wearing, which is the first OC, the one on the very left. Honestly, it's a pretty simple outfit, but yet something about it is just so cute. I think it's because it's the first time that I wore leg warmers in a while, if I have ever worn them before. And honestly, they're so freaking cute and underrated, and that's why I have them in like yet another outfit drawing of one of my other OCs. It's gonna be Zore, which is the 3rd OC. Leg warmers are just so freaking cute, but both of those that I got them from Japan. Because I don't really find them in stores over here. I'm sure they have some, or like I can definitely get them online somewhere, but when they're just right in front of you in a store, like I was like, oh my gosh, I need to buy these, absolutely. If you're new to knowing me, one of my biggest trademarks is thigh highs, or really just any kind of like fun leg wear. So that's why basically all these outfits feature some kind of fun. Well, I mean, everyone wears socks, right? But alas, leg warmers in general just feel like such a fun way to like make an outfit cute. And I feel like that first outfit is very simple and fun, and when I put it on for the first time, I felt it. Like I felt the aura, you know what I mean? Like when you have a really nice outfit on and you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to kill it today. I think what also makes it so iconic is the little like wing accessories, which again got while I was in Japan. Are we surprised? And that also seems to be a part of my aesthetic. It's very magical girl. The second outfit, I wish I had a photo to show you because it really was cute. It's like this purple, like this light lavender vest with a white pleated skirt, because of course I'm always wearing some kind of pleated skirt, and a long sleeve that is K-pop merch from I think the BTS Permission to Dance concert in LA in 2022? Was it that long? Also, those shoes on the second one I just made up. I don't really have like platform Converse, but that would be kind of cool. I don't know, I might invest in that in the future. The third outfit is just kind of like a overall dress, like a straight A-line pinafore type thing. Anyways, and then this really cute like long sleeve but yet off the shoulders type top that I wore underneath it with like these leg warmers once again that have crosses on them. And then the Mary Jane shoes that I love wearing because they're like platform Mary Jane shoes. They're just so freaking cute. And then lastly, Mira's outfit is like, to be honest, I kind of took some liberties on their outfits. There's some things that I don't exactly have or kind of have, but not exactly like that. So I do have that NASA shirt, but it's actually fully long sleeved, not like two different shirts underneath. It's just one giant navy long sleeve NASA shirt. And then the loafers. Honestly, I didn't do a good job drawing the loafers. Shoes in general, I tried to ignore. I didn't want to think about it because I need to work on them so much more. Also, the first OC is wearing my Kuromi platforms, but I didn't draw Kuromi on them. I just drew a cute little yellow heart because I feel like that suits her. Overall, these full body drawings were kind of fun. I really had fun with the poses, which I all got from Pinterest, by the way. The third one, I feel like Zude, her pose could have turned out a little bit better. I feel like I executed it poorly, or I should have just chose a more appealing pose for her. And putting these full bodies together, I was trying to figure out if I wanted to like actually render it or if I just kind of wanted to play around. And so the line art in general isn't necessarily line art, it's a little bit more like a sketch. And I feel like I just couldn't decide on whether or not I wanted to like go all out on it or not, because I said like I was gonna keep it chill, and then I got to the rendering part and I was putting in way too much work. But yet not enough work for it to come out decent, like the way that I really wanted it to, so it's kind of just like, well, here we are. But I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cute, and if nothing else, I think me drawing full bodies was actually really nice because it's been a while since I've done that. So yeah, here's the final of the full body drawings of my OCs next to each other, stunting. So the first part's out of the way, let's get into the illustration. So first things first, you can see I kind of already have like this really messy type sketch ready to go, and that's what I'm going to base my line art off of. And don't feel too left out that I didn't include that entire part of putting that sketch together. I do include a time lapse at the end, so you'll see it there as well. Starting with the line art, you can see I'm moving quite at a snail's pace despite it being so sped up, and I mean that might just be a normal thing for people doing line art, I don't know, but I will say I have so much to improve on with my line art. Like I need to figure some things out and reassess it, and that was me realizing that while I was trying to put this together. My issue is, and I always say this, is that I love how it feels to sketch things, and line art, well, depending on how you prefer to do it, but for me line art is the exact opposite of a sketch. You're not making so many lines and you're not being as carefree with it. It's a lot more precise and like intentional and smooth. Again, it depends on how you prefer to do your line art, but personally I want mine to appear like very sharp and clean, and obviously you can tell like I have ways to go, or at least maybe I'm just roasting myself, but in my eyes I feel like that's definitely something that I want to work on. The issue is I feel so conflicted because sometimes I just don't even want to deal with line art, because with how my line art is naturally, it makes it very much a pain whenever I want to like edit something or go change something. I feel like my form of line art is really good for if I wanted to like paint over it, and that's something that I do want to experiment with, but I also want to do the other end of that where I just have really clean ass line art and I go from there. It's very like me to want to master both sides of something, so that makes sense. It's just kind of a pain. And in general right now, like putting this process together, I realize there's a lot that I have to work on, but I mean I've already known that. I've made a whole video about me not really knowing what my style is or my process is, and putting this illustration together was just another reminder, and it was a very heavy reminder because oh my gosh. In my defense, I will say I feel like a lot of this illustration was just kind of like ran through a completely BS, like I mean like bullshit. I was just kind of like whatever, and I didn't mean to be that way, but it was more like when I started to have to film the tablet screen. I've said this before, filming with my iPad or with my tablet, it's a little bit more difficult because like the camera has to sit almost like over my shoulder while I'm drawing, and I don't know, it just makes it so much more difficult. I need to figure out like a different way to film it, or you guys can be so kind to let me know if you wouldn't mind me doing like a screen recording every now and then, just kind of throwing that in there, and it's just like typical like old school YouTube speed paints, because honestly that just might be the way to go for some things. I get that it's exciting to see a hand move on a screen, but like I feel like you can just see everything so much more clearer and like straightforward in a speed paint, even though it takes out the idea of someone like working on it, if that makes sense. Like I get both sides basically, but the issue is my back was suffering so much during this process. I felt like I needed to draw some kind of explanation picture because it truly is so wild. Like, again, my hand is like going through the tripod a little bit, like my left hand, because I have to click the express keys, and then I'm also like tilting the screen so it can show not too much at an angle on the camera, and basically I was just in a really uncomfortable position while drawing this entire thing, so it was just such a strain. Like, I think at some point I took a step back for a breather and I felt my spine just kind of like, it did something to where it made me like worry really greatly. I was like, what is going on? Is my spine okay? Is this it? Is this the end? So yeah, that was a really not fun experience and I will not be doing that again. So I either need to figure out how to film this properly, or I need to stick with a screen recording every now and then. With my iPad it's not that bad because it's such a small cute size, but my tablet's a little bit bigger and it definitely was like a bit more of a challenge to try to figure out. So yeah, because of my back pain and just extreme body joint deterioration, I was just running through this entire thing and I just stopped caring like less and less about all the little things that I really wanted to like not look so bad. So yeah, unfortunately that resulted in me not really liking how it came out, along with other things, but let's talk about why I decided to do this to begin with. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while actually, and it's just such a fun, cute little thing to do. I enjoy fashion in general. I enjoy like putting together cute outfits and things like that. Fashion is just another way to explore one's visual aesthetic, and as someone who's an enthusiast of character design, obviously that's just another opportunity for me to have fun. I also really need to like work on clothes and like drawing clothes, understanding how they work, things like that. That's something that's like, yes, I've been working on it, but it's also something important to me, so I need to work on it even more. Basically, if it's fashion, it's something I can always look forward to, and I recommend it. I think we should all draw our OCs in our clothes, so if you needed a reason, honestly, we could even draw fan art. Draw your faves in your clothes. Why not? Go crazy, right? And I introduced the idea before of doing a little OC dress-up series. I think whenever I was doing my last sketchbook tour, this idea where it's like I give my OCs a theme or aesthetic. Honestly, it's kind of like Dress to Impress if you think about it. I'm just doing that but with my OCs, where it's like I give them this theme and then I draw them in these outfits that I make up, and that's essentially it. I was thinking about like drawing certain OCs in completely different aesthetics than what their main aesthetic is, but that also requires me to figure out what their main aesthetic is because I don't really know that for all of my OCs. I should probably talk about them as well because I have a lot of OCs. I also wanted to point out while I'm doing these flats, I'm using that like one fill tool where it's like you can circle things and it fills it in for you. I've talked about using this before, and I think I've gotten better at like seeing how it works, although again my line art is not really ideal for this, hence why I need to work on it more, because I would like to do line art where it works really nicely with this tool because it will just really like help streamline the process. Flats is something that I always roll my eyes at because even though you think it's so simple of you just like putting down flat colors, making sure that each pixel is filled and everything is right in its spot, that can be such a pain. And hence another reason why the whole idea of doing like line arts to flats is annoying, because if something is off then you have to fix so many individual layers sometimes, and it's just a pain in the rear. And honestly, doing the flats is so boring anyways, so after I do like the first two I just skip. So you're not gonna see the footage for everything else until you look at like the time lapse. But and actually, spoiler alert, I really only render like 2 of them footage wise because like I just couldn't. My back was going to give out. It was too bad. I couldn't manage it. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll persevere. I'll push through and struggle with my back problems for the sake of content. And I was like, Rhea, I don't even think it's worth all that. Like, I think you need to calm down. Like, medical bills are expensive. Let's not rack any of those up, please. So yeah, you're only gonna see me render Miss Prism and the next girl, who I decided to name Quartz because I felt like her previous name was gonna be Chloe, as in like glow, but with a K. But I was like, I don't really know if that fits her. You know, I don't really know if that makes sense. And for reference, those two are like besties. I feel like they're more of aesthetic characters because they don't really have any kind of major story. At most, they're just like these cute girls that are probably really popular online, like influencer levels. Like they're popular on social media, they take all these like cute pictures and stuff like that. I think they model, I think that's what it is. Like they're kind of like a model influencer type thing, but they're really cute, precious hearted. And I think Quartz was actually a kind of a cute name, because at first I was like, I mean, I kind of want to go with something along the lines of Amethyst, but I don't really know, like I don't want to name her Amethyst because that's a long name and I don't even know if that's gonna make sense. And then I was like, oh, Amethyst is a form of quartz, that's good to know. Well, what if I just call her Quartz? And so here we are. But I think it works out pretty nicely, especially on the idea of these two being friends. I feel like it fits both of their aesthetics. Like Prism being named Prism makes sense, especially when you see me render her hair. And then Quartz makes sense because if you think about the fact that I was originally going to name her Amethyst and her hair is purple, there we go. But then also P and Q are next to each other in the alphabet, so like, they're buddies. They're always buddies. That's so cute. The other two that you won't see me render on cam footage, the third girl, as I said, her name is Zure. I've drawn her several times before, and I love her because she's just so pretty and iconic and majestic. I feel like I need to use other more in-depth words to explain my OCs and not just like word bomb with random stuff in my brain. But Zure is a fashion designer. She kind of has like this more, I don't want to say she's like super serious, but she's a lot more poised and reserved and introverted, but she's really like smart, excellent at what she does. She's kind of like a girl boss, honestly. I think she's majoring in business or something like that. I need to check my notes. But, and then next to her, on the right of her, the guy at the end is Mira. I love Mira. He's like the poster child for all my male OCs, I guess, because he was the first male OC that I made, maybe? I think so. Because I remember when I was first starting to draw guys more, I would always end up drawing one with curly hair, and I remember looking at it and being like, see, he needs to be an OC at this point. Like, something's happening. And he needs to have earrings, he needs to be star themed or something, I don't know. And so that's how we came up with him. Mira is very much pretty boy CEO, but he has a really bad attitude. I mean, he's not like really bad, he's just very like, I imagine he'd be a hard person to befriend because you need a lot of patience, because he's one of those like people that he just doesn't, if you start talking to him, he's like, oh god, why is this person talking to me? Oh my gosh, I want to leave immediately. And it's like to the point where it's just, he's not really nice. You have to break down his layers, basically. He's a good person somewhere, it's just hard to find. Ah, tsundere. He's a tsundere. Yeah, I believe so. But overall, just my experience putting this together, I feel like I kind of had fun, but I was still hesitant because, like, one, I really need to figure out my line art and my rendering process for hair and skin and eyes. There's a lot that I need to figure out. And it's definitely a work in progress. But the other reason is simply because I neglected this illustration a lot because of my back issues while trying to film. I laugh, but it's really not funny. Like, my back genuinely was hurting. And I was like, well, it's fine because it's just a little prompt for a YouTube video, so it's not gonna take too much. And also, for some reason, I wanted to squeeze that out for this exact week instead of editing some footage that I already had for another video. And so it just kind of ended up with me rushing and coming out with the subpar results. And at this point, I feel like I'm having to make a little bit too many disclaimers about being like, oh my gosh, guys, what? I just didn't really put in that much effort. I'm starting to sound like one of those anime villains where they're like, you haven't even seen my true power yet, you know? Like, it feels like that. Because, like, when am I going to actually say, like, yeah, I spent everything into this? I don't know, like, I just hate to keep throwing in the towel on things and just kind of letting it be what it is instead of pushing it further. Like, I know it probably could be better. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and rework this. I'm thinking of just painting over that initial sketch and seeing what that might have looked like, because again, I'm going in between like this whole thing of like, do I want to do really crisp, clean line art and amazing flats and render it from there, or do I just want to like paint over everything and have it be like a little bit textured and messy, but like in this genuine free way. I don't know. And to point out all the things that I kind of dislike or felt like it could have been better, you'll probably see it more towards the end, or there's some things that only I would know. But continuity issues such as like Mira's piercings, he has, so I do draw him with his moon piercing, and you probably couldn't see the piercing on his other ear since it's kind of like a quarter view, but I forgot to add his tragus piercings because he has two little like star tragus piercings on each side. So there's that, and then also Prism's shirt, I forget to like add the little like numbers or like the whatever I put the cloud on the left side of her. Also, Mira wearing the beret now in this illustration is not a continuity error. I actually did that because I thought it'd be a cute behind the scenes story where Mira like turns to Zude at some point and he's like, hey, I'm kind of having a bad hair day, can I like borrow your beret? Despite his not so friendly attitude, I feel like they would remotely get along, or like they would be at least chill with each other. Also, I imagine all four of them would be in the same universe because I kind of like, I was thinking about the other day of like all my OCs and like what type of universe to put them in, and so far I'm at 5 different ones. So but they're obviously going to be in like the normal slice of life one. I don't think Zude would go to the same school as Mira, or if they do go to the same school, I don't imagine they would like come into contact with each other often. But anyways, back to the critique. Again, my line art, I feel like that's another thing where like the continuity was an issue because there's some places where the line art's just thicker than what I wanted. And even like style wise, I feel like generally this is like Prism and Mira especially, like that's how I draw my faces. Like this looks very much familiar to me. But I feel like there's some cases where I got a little bit mixed up and was going in between styles because Quartz's face, like her eyes specifically, are so freaking big and like anime-esque. Prism's are too a little bit, but then also Zude's are like a little bit too close into each other. And I really wanted to fix that, but I never did. Now I'm just really sad because she's beautiful and doesn't deserve this. I like the line art from Mira's face, but then I rendered it and everything went downhill. On top of that, I don't think I knew like if I wanted to go for a more anime style or a more surrealistic style, and so there's just some inconsistencies there going on. And also, drawing multiple people in one frame in general is something harder for me, so it definitely came out awkward. Like it's not horrible, but it's definitely something that I need more experience with on terms of composition and things like that. I feel like there's a little bit too much repetitive feeling. Like it would have been nice if I closed Quartz's eyes and like that squinting smile. I think that would have been cute, and I started to do that, but I was like, no, it's okay, I'll like draw her eyes, and now everyone's just like staring at you. Like it's giving ominous, but like cute ominous. I don't even, is that a thing? But yeah, expressions, I guess that's another thing I can add on the list, and overall my rendering in general is something that I need to revisit. But most of all, the clothing folds. I think the clothing folds, really just clothing in general, I feel like I keep saying in general, there's just so many things. So many things to work on. So I'm coming away from this illustration feeling kind of defeated. Not like I lost the war, but I do feel like I took an L here, which I mean I did set myself up for with like BSing the rendering and stuff, but still. I want to take my time with things more next time and just really sit down and hash stuff out. A part of me was kind of shook that I drew my OCs in full bodies and like a little illustration as well, because back then it would have taken me forever to do something like that, and I did this in only a couple of days while working on stuff. But granted, I am jobless right now and I spend an equivalent of like a regular work day, if not more, time on art right now. I guess it's like, for once in this journey, I'm starting to somewhat see the vision of the kind of artist that I want to be and the level of skills and like the range that I want. But also the gap is just so freaking big, dude. Like, I've been drawing for well over a decade, and I know 85% of it has been self-taught, and I only started pursuing it in my free time whenever I went to college, but like, it's like you feel like you're so close, but yet so freaking far. But I want to stay hopeful and just keep pushing for this because it is very precious to me. I know it's just me drawing my silly little OCs and my silly little outfits, but it really has a special place in my heart, and it's one fragment of a much bigger picture of my universe. So alas, here's to the everlasting journey of us getting better as artists, or whatever journey you're on right now. Good luck with that as well. It's about to go into the time lapse. Again, sorry for only showing the rendering process of 2 of my OCs instead of all 4 of them, but again, my back was about to give out. Like, I just couldn't. So yeah, this was chill. I'd be down to do it again someday, although I do have some other things planned that'll be similar, such as like the OC dress-up series that I talked about. So let me know if this formatting works for you guys. Like, does that make sense to show the full body drawing and then get into the illustration of like you know, them taking a selfie or some kind of photo shoot together, because I feel like it's kind of cute. I might draw less people next time too, since 4 is quite a larger amount. I think like a nice 2 to 3 might be easier before I start jumping into doing 4. I'd ask if you guys are interested to see more of my OCs, but honestly, whether you are or not, I have a ton of them just living in my head rent-free, so it might as well be the world's problem regardless. I definitely need to make character sheets also, like, ugh. But there's just so much to think about. I'm only just getting started. I've been thinking a lot about the slice of life group and like sort of what they're, because it's very easy to go off of. It's like they're kind of like college students type energy, so that's really easy to work with. But yeah, I'll try to come up with character sheets soon for the more developed characters that I have. And if nothing else, it's very likely that I will be including a lot of videos of me trying to reassess how I draw certain things, like rendering hair and skin and all of that. Same thing with line art. So if you're new here, feel free to join me in this journey. It is all chill, it's all vibes, we're just taking things one day at a time. So with that, leads me to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed your time here today, you can let me know by leaving a like. It'll probably make my back feel a little bit better. If you're interested to see more of my content, you can always check out my other videos and subscribe. For reference, if you're new, I am Rhea or Etheria and like making art and art-related content on my channel. I do post weekly videos, but if you'd like more timely updates, you can always check out my other social media linked in the description or also at the end of the video. Until next time, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I wish you a nice rest of your day, week, and probably next month since it's about to be September. Take care.